Welcome to Season 2, Episode 8 of the Punk Rock Drummers Podcast.
Where we will talk to someone who was in a punk band, or just inspired by the music. Today's guest is Donny, the Ruckus Ruck. I'm sorry, he's a pro wrestler now. Of the amazing Mindforce from New York.
Yeah.
Dude, what a fucking knowledgeable dude this guy was.
Yep.
Sweetheart too.
He was a sweetheart, yes. Yeah. And I always say this, you kind of go into these bands that are a little more, sound more angry, and you kind of expect to get that, and you don't. You get love. You get the nicest people in the world.
Yep. And then some of those pop punk guys are just aggressive and mean and violent.
Hey, luckily, we have not come across any of that. But
Yuri from MXPX threatened to stab me.
I don't remember that part. So
it was weird. It was weird, dude. It was uncomfortable. But yeah, dude. So in the smoothest transition ever, Donny would like us to give a shout out to his sponsor SJC, who we also share. Color. Oh my God. It's a Color Cube Print Shop. Tommy B's Slice Shop, and he also plays drums in a band called Wretched Right. That's RITE, more of a death metal thing, and then he sings in a hardcore band called Pitch Black Tomb. You can find that all linked through his Instagram. It's Donny Ruck, and it's Donny with a Y. Don't you forget it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spelled his name wrong at first. What's with all these drummers being in multiple bands? What's that all about?
I like how you say, like, we've never done that before. Well, I'm going to go ahead and assume there's shortage of drummers.
Yeah. There was a little sarcastic S at the end of my statement.
Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. It should be, I don't know. I guess that's it, right? Someone always needs a drummer.
That's how it is. Well, if, good, solid drummer. I mean, a lot of these guys we talked to are in a bunch of bands,
and none of them stuck. So that works out.
Right. Well. That's right. I'm seeing a trend here. Yeah.
What do you got going on, man? We been up to anything fun? Any drummy stuff you got going on, or?
Me? No, it's kind of quiet right now because Fire Sale played our 2 shows of the year. Well, actually it was 3 shows. We played Belgium and 2 shows in Canada. No US shows. I played a show with Down by Law back in May, and my band 41 Gorgeous Blocks just played in Ohio. But I did go see Hagfish the other night, or what was that, a couple weeks ago? And we just interviewed Tony Barsotti, drummer of Hagfish, and they put on an amazing show.
Clearly Irish. Yep. Irish guy.
Yeah, very strong Irish last name, Barsotti. Yeah. He was awesome. I knew he would be, but it was cool seeing Hagfish again. If you haven't heard Hagfish, check out our last episode with Tony Barsotti and check out Hagfish. They're awesome. But I saw that. Yeah, great show.
Sleeve washers.
Yeah. Oh,
some sleeve washers.
It's kind of a cool thing. Sarah Lynn, you know her from doing all the punk rock covers. She did a cover of a song of my band Fire Sale, something I wrote, drum parts that I wrote.
Yeah, she blew you out of the water too.
I was not expecting that.
Better watch your back, dude. She's gunning for your job.
I know. That was a really great surprise. So thank you, Sarah Lynn. We will get you on here soon. I promise.
Yes. Yeah.
What about you?
There are some rumblings of I've been talking with some friends that we used to play in a band together, and I think we might start back at it, maybe under a different name with a little bit of a different style of music. But
right on.
It's me and my older brother, and then 2 of my very close friends, Nick and Brett. And we've all played music together at some capacity together over the past, I don't know, since I was 14, so 30 years now. I'm excited to see where it goes, and now that I mentioned it out loud, it'll probably all fucking fall apart and not happen. So way to jinx myself.
Hold on. Remind me of the name. It's something about nachos, right?
It was bonus nachos, but I don't know if we're going to go.
Dude, I
don't know if we're going to go.
Keep it.
Started as a TV theme song cover band. So actually a Halloween band called Monster Mosh. And then yeah, we played that one Halloween show and just had some fun. But yeah, other than that, man, just plugging away, playing in the basement and being a dad, you know?
Cool.
Dadding that shit up, bro.
Dad, greatest job in the world.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking pay very well though.
It does, just not in money. Nothing physical.
Or thank yous, or respect, or
that'll happen later.
If they don't put me in the ground first. Anyway, no, they're
well, I'm
great
happy
kids.
for you. That's great. I'm glad you might get something going on. That's really cool. Good for you.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Good
All
for
right.
you. Say hello to your mother. Say hello to your mother for me.
All right. Well, we've got a good one.
Yes, buckle up. It's a bit of a long boy.
Donny Ruck, Mindforce.
Donny Ruck. Meow.
All right. Here we go.
Do we have liftoff? Hey,
What's
good?
Have liftoff. Hi.
how are you?
So I see one. I see a man at a drum set.
Oh,
You don't
Matt,
see
you're
me.
Negative.
Oh, that's weird. I'm the
Oh,
one who sent you the email.
Oh, wait. You know what it is? I think whoever's talking.
okay.
Oh, you must have it
That-
set up that way.
See. How do I? There we go. All right. There's both of
Yeah.
you. Sick.
Gallery view.
Sick.
I used to have
But-
it set up that way, and it was kind of annoying, so I changed it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to
see.
see
I mean,
all of our faces.
I make the joke that I just love to say, I'm like, listen, man, I'm not good with technical shit. I'm a drummer. I hit shit with sticks. I speak with my hands.
There you go.
Well, Christian was having trouble too.
Sick.
I mean,
No, dude. Dude, both guys named Christian.
What's up?
What?
I said both guys. So my middle name is also Christian.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? That name's Christian. He never told me this whole time.
No. So my middle name is Christian.
You know, I
what-
would have known that if you guys had a freaking Wikipedia page.
I love the fact that we do not.
I was trying to do my research here, okay? And I'm like, well, I'm just going to go in blind. But that's
Love
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. That's some thumbs up.
Yeah, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty all right, guys. I'm tired as I think most of your generation, my generation lives in a perpetual state of tired.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I'm feeling pretty good. I got one of my newer bands is dropping an EP tomorrow. I don't know if you guys have heard the name Wretched Right getting kicked around at all.
Yeah.
I have not.
I have-
Christian hears about everybody.
Sick.
He knows everything.
Yeah. I'm pumped. It's kind of a super group with it's me, it's my buddy Dan, who Dan sang in a band called Warn for a long time. And then Xavier, who is currently in Gridiron and was in Simulacra. He's in Dead on Your Feet. He's in one of those guys that he's in like 19 bands.
Yeah.
But and then my secret weapon is my buddy Evan, who he's been in tons and tons and tons of bands over the course of time. Like I've known him for like 20 years and tons of projects. He's just kind of like an unknown soldier chilling in the background, but like the guy, this is his first band that he's playing guitar on, and it's like insane.
Dude, getting that getting that person that like first time doing whatever it is they're doing, I feel like they're always like trying to give it like a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
definitely not the worst thing to happen. So
No, definitely not.
we should talk a little bit about how small the world is.
Okay.
I mean that. So Matt hit up Jeff. Well, that's the long part of the story, so we'll leave.
Okay.
So we're having a meeting with Jeff from SG, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, like I know you from somewhere. And he said something, you know, this dude Scott, and I'm like, yeah, I've been doing like Bulldog Courage. And he's like, holy shit, you're anyway. So Jeff was Poughkeepsie.
Yep.
Right. So I would go to the Chance all the time to see shows. And then I just think it's funny that I brought it up to you when we were speaking. And I brought up Terry, and the legendary Terry Orlando, and dude, it's just funny as like the world just gets like it just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks a little bit more in a fun.
Dude, I love it. I in a weird way, I actually had a moment today at my job. So I work in Newburgh. My main gig during the week is I'm a production manager and coordinator for a local print shop. And a buddy of mine, my guy who works in the back, he's our embroidery tech. It was like a family member or a longtime friend. I'm a little unsure of their connection or their relationship. But he walks in with a buddy of his, and he's like, "Oh, wait." He's like, you're the guy in Mindforce? And I was like, okay. I was like, well, yeah, I play drums in Mindforce. And my embroidery tech, Mike, was like, no, I mean, earlier in the year when you guys did Sound and Fury, this guy was like obsessed with the fact that you were doing Sound and Fury. He lives out in the West Coast. And it was like, same thing. Another one of those small moments for myself was like, I've never met this dude ever in my life. And as soon as he walks into the shop, he's like, I know who you are. I've seen your band. And it's like, holy shit, man.
Dude, that's wild. It's a good
feeling. I love it. Dude, I love it. And it has, in that sense, it has nothing to do with like me personally. It's this beautiful thing that seemingly, I want to say every subculture has its own feeling of this and like, worlds shrink. But for me, it's like hardcore just continues to do that left and right.
Yep.
And it's pretty special.
Yeah, and I think now more than ever, like lines are kind of blurring a little bit again back between like punk and hardcore and thrash. It doesn't seem to be as like separate as it used to be. I mean, it started all from the same place, and it kind of feel like it broke off into like separate factions. But you're seeing a lot more like lineups being a bit more diverse too, at least around here. I mean, it's good. It's blending back together again too.
Yeah, and I love it personally because I think when I was growing up and I started going to shows around, I want to say 2002, 2003 was some of my earliest shows, which put me like age 12. I think I started going to shows around here. And, as we all do, the few local shows, and then you start to branch out and you get bigger and you go to the bigger venues. And being from Newburgh was like, man, it was like I grew up hearing and seeing so many different mixed bills, everything from like bands that were clearly like hardcore influenced ska bands to like bands that were Marauder worship to was like, oh, cool, this band is clearly ripping off of My Chem because My Chem is huge right now, and all on the same bill. And like it's kind of returned to that.
Yeah,
really.
Oh, for sure.
And I really enjoy seeing it. Like this, that festival I mentioned I played this past week down in Florida. It was really just a long 2-day fest of a bunch of smaller local Florida bands that kind of drove in all throughout the state with like a handful of out-of-state bands kind of peppered in that like the kid who booked it was like, yo, I mean, I know you like the bands that we booked from out of state, people think are popping and kind of cool in like the up and coming scene. And it was dope to see because every band kind of had a similar vibe, but a lot of bands had their own thing going on. And it was an all ages show, which like that right there was like, you're starting to see all ages shows again. And I think for me, that was really important to see. And I'm seeing come back because it's like, had that not been a thing for me, I definitely would have caught on, but I wouldn't have had the exposure to it that young. Yeah. And really, really like tied in and established then some of my like absolute favorite bands. And I remember at one of my earliest shows, I remember seeing someone wear a Converge hoodie and me just like not know who Converge was and be like,
Silver Face.
No, actually, It wasn't. It was a Caring and Killing design. And I saw it and was like, I don't know what that is. And it lived in my brain for like another year until I heard You Fail Me, which was my introduction into Converge. And then I went backwards, as I still do. That's one of the things I still do. I'll like discover a new band or someone will show me something, and I immediately want to just keep going back to see like, sick, where did this band come from like 2 years ago? Let me see that shit. And was really interesting to see that design. And like I found Caring and Killing as like the record, and I was like, whoa, that dude's hoodie from like a year ago. Oh my God. And it blew my mind. I was like, had I not been in the room and saw that piece of like subliminal advertising on this guy's body, I might not have been that attracted to the artwork or the imagery or even the music when I heard it.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely, man. That's the visual aspect of it is pretty crazy as well.
Might be one of my favorite parts of this whole thing that we do. You know what I mean?
It's wild too, like the different avenues. Like I played in bands. Funny, as a drummer, the longest band I was in, I was the vocalist for. But you know, I'm a tattoo artist as well, so I kind of took a back seat for a while I worked on the career, but I was always doing. I mean, I met Matt through doing design work for his band.
Sick.
Did a couple like Albany. I can't do band transitions. I did just covers and like a lot of T-shirts for my friends and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that like just as much as the sound and like the visuals of like logos and stuff like that grabbed me pretty hard. And it's funny is that's never come up before, and all the people we've talked with, how like some band.
I love it.
Is so.
Yeah, man. I think for me it was a mix of the two. I mean, like I have absolutely no visual artistic ability. Like I can't even draw a straight line. Like I really can't. I'll try 1,000 times and like they're all gonna be bad. So I think for me it made it grew the respect and the admiration for a lot of the artwork for some of my favorite bands, like really genuinely, because like man, we could go down the rabbit hole of like imagery for bands and album covers, but it was like cool as I dove deeper into say like death metal. I mean, we can talk about death metal album covers for days. Then it was something so simple as like my favorite record of all time is Sing the Sorrow from AFI. And all it is their logo, a picture of a fucking leaf, and script. That's it. And I have another similar story with that where like about a couple, I knew who AFI was, but I hadn't like dove in deep yet. And I was with a cousin of mine at a skate park, and one of the dudes who was, I think if I remember right, he was from the Baker team, had a Sing the Sorrow shirt. And then when I saw that logo, you know, a year or two later, whenever I found Sing the Sorrow, it was like, no shit, man. And it still happens to this day. I think, you know, we all see bands that like may have put out like a super recognizable shirt or had a logo from years ago that like may have really just stuck in all of our brain. We all have it. It doesn't matter whether it's like, dude, as something as simple as like Give Blood. It's just, you know, the actual Give Blood cover is the actual photograph, but then when they redid it and it's just the red cross on the record, like there's no mistaking it. You see it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew.
Yeah. No, I agree with all that.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
No, he's right. We haven't discussed that side of it, and it's kind of cool. We got an artist here, so you know. I mean, I've got things that, you know, it's insane how powerful a good logo is, or good, you know, for a band, especially like, I mean, in your case, I mean, you're living proof right there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I know that I've told Matt, and I want to talk about drums, but my first concert was Pantera, Sepultura, and Biohazard. 12. I know, right?
Damn.
I still
12, you said?
Yeah, it's over 13, and I'm still
wow.
can get us connected to Igor. That's like one of my favorite drummers. But
oh yeah, dude,
he was wearing the Nazi punk fuck off shirt, and Max had the Discharge sticker on his guitar. And I remember being like, oh, I gotta like check those things out. And they sounded so different than Sepultura. It just blew my mind. And that band is they're responsible for like helping me. I found punk because of them. They think Sick of It All on the inside of a record jacket, and like that's a big way too. Now, in the smoothest segue in history, I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
I love this.
So the festival that you just played, that was with the band that you sing in, correct?
Correct.
What festival was it?
They were calling it Black Heaven Festival.
Okay.
It was just outside of Miami in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
I didn't know Hollywood, Florida existed before before this. And I got there, and of course I had to post the thing. I was like, oh man, I think I took a wrong turn.
It's like it's all the B celebrities live.
I'll tell you what, man. I saw some creatures within 48 hours.
Oh, you went to Walmart?
We went to Target, which was like slightly better creatures.
Yeah.
But so the crazy thing that I found out before I went there was the whole switcheroo with the porn industry. Do you guys know what I mean?
No.
I never even heard of porn.
So what is that? It's a type of cake, right?
Yeah.
All I found out was that there's a crazy law now in California that if you're shooting, adult films, let's say, there's certain stipulations that you have to meet to still produce that material within California state borders. And it really all comes down to if the male in the scene is wearing a condom or not. And to film porn in California, there has to be a condom present. To not, you can't do it. It's illegal. Like, you'll get completely shut down.
They're trying to stop overpopulation.
No, but like,
essentially. So I mean, the only reason I knew that is because I have a friend of mine that lives in Hollywood and like frequents the Silicon Valley area, and even he was like, yo, there went from like this influx of people that you would predominantly, assume or may or may not be there for the adult film industry. And he's like, all of a sudden they were just gone. And I kind of went, this is weird. And he found that out. And what I was told, like the day before I'm getting on a plane, was like, oh, that whole industry relocated to Miami. So when I was seeing the mix of like the creatures from God's waiting room and like the most plastic people you would ever see, it was like, whoa, it was a wild 48 hours. Cause like every direction was like, oh my God. Like,
I experienced that in Tampa last year.
Tampa's another one. Tampa's another one.
Yeah.
So to tie it I tell this already. I love it. No, like the question that I had actually written down kind of actually works out pretty well is, going from playing drums in bands, singing in a band, is there ever any part where like, you're like, dude, do this instead? Like, do you find it difficult to kind of give control to the drummer? And
in that sense, no. And I don't say this in any sort of a demeaning way to anybody that I've ever been in a band with, because I've done vocals in a few different bands here and there. If I'm choosing to step back, I know that whoever's behind the kit, they got it.
Right.
I don't, you know what I mean? And that's not me being like I'll only play in bands with good drummers type. It's like, nah, man, if I'm cool, if I'm confident enough in your abilities to rip behind the kit, I don't got to think. That's actually, it's kind of a slight relief for me, because then it's like, I don't have to think. I can maybe pepper in some suggestions here and there. But beyond that, it's actually been kind of nice to take a step back and not be involved in like the raw music creating side of it, because I mean, with doing that for so long with Mindforce and then Living Laser and just really my entire music career, it's kind of cool to like take a step back and be like, oh, what did my friend, his name is Andrew, who plays in Pitch Black Tomb. It's like, oh, cool. What did he come up with for this new song? I'm like pumped to hear what parts he came up with and like what his fills are going to be, what, like what tempo changes, different stuff like that. And he's another nerdy drummer, just like myself. So him and I'll go back and forth, and he's asked for suggestions when, he's needed them. And I've suggested certain parts like, hey man, maybe just a simple, like close the hi-hat in this one part, and it'll make all the difference. And he's like, oh, cool. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. But it's all, at the end of the day, it's all like a friendly, a shareable, friendly thing. I don't know how else to describe it.
No, that's great, man, because it can definitely be, I know some bands where there's instrumentalists and it kind of can get people get a little testy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Drummer's the exception.
Yeah, man.
We're always cool. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I haven't seen any that way.
I sang it.
I would agree. I mean, I think it is situational, because I think like if you have a band that have like a lot of people that have like big personalities, and one person maybe thinks that they're right over the other, or just like, you know what I mean? Like, we all know as a drummer, there's nothing worse than a non-drummer telling you how to play your drum parts.
Right.
I don't care. Like, dude, Mike Shaw, he's a god on guitar. He moves his hands, and I don't know what he does. It's like, yo, cool, homie, you can suggest stuff. Don't tell me how to play my parts. But I think there's also a very mutual respect that goes along with that. Because, like, I don't know, I've had times, like, say with writing with Mindforce, where it's like, cool, I'll suggest a guitar part, like, hey, Mike, maybe just do like in my brain, I like hear this cool chug thing that maybe could go there. So I think it's how you present your ideas. And I think it's how you approach the person you're working with, because a lot of that, like, if you know that you're bouncing ideas off of somebody left and right, you kind of have to like learn how they accept ideas.
Yeah.
Really, I think, rather than just like thinking your idea is better. Sometimes, in a weird way, sometimes it's almost really not convincing someone that your idea is better, but just showing them your idea in general in a way that doesn't make them feel attacked or you look like a dick.
Yeah. And it's funny too, man, is I would assume that 90% of like the, whatever you want to call them, like disagreements between two band members, no one else in the band and not a single person listening to it would ever be like, that guy should have done this, that, the other thing. It's all fucking, it's in your own head for the most part, right? Like, it's funny too. But dude, so while we're on that topic, it'd be great to hear a little bit of like the writing process with Mindforce and maybe how it's progressed from the beginning of you guys getting together and now.
Sure. I think it's kind of always remained a bit the same, where me and Mike, for the most part, will write a lot of the stuff musically. And that's not to discredit Nick or Jay in any means. It's always, I think the old formula, there's usually one or two, maybe three guys that are always like, hey, we're going to crank every week, and we're going to sit and we're going to establish this time, whether it's a weekend day after work, whenever the time slot is. And like, you always have like the core that's writing like the base of the music, because very rarely, in my experience, are all four members of a band ever in the room really fully, from starting to ending process of the writing process. Like,
right.
That's very, very rare. So I think it's really just kind of, it's in that sense, it's stayed the same for Mindforce the whole time. It's been me and Mike get into a room, and like, he's got ideas and just go from there. There is some fun lore with, I don't know if you guys remember a band called Living Laser that kind of predates Mindforce a little bit. But we were in a band called Living Laser for a few years that did a bunch of stuff on Frequency Deleted Records, played a bunch of shows throughout the Northeast. Didn't really travel that much. But the last Living Laser release, or what would have been the last Living Laser release, was technically the Mindforce demo.
Okay.
And we swapped out a member from Living Laser. We had a bass player named Casey that he left. He had a baby and just, family commitments, things like that. Couldn't make it work. And we brought Nick in, who Nick and Jay had been friends for a very long time. We all knew about each other's bands, just Hudson Valley. They were in a band called Robots and Empires for a long time. And then Nick was in a band at the time. We stole him. We kind of stole him from a band that he was doing called Lives of the Obscure. And we changed it up. And it was like, he was like the golden missing little piece that was like ready to just, we wanted to go heavier. We wanted to go thrashier. We wanted to go faster. And Casey, I love him to death. Casey, wherever you are, if you're listening, or if you will listen, I love you. But Casey,
now,
what's that?
It'd be weird if he was listening now.
That'd be so.
He's actually in the room with one of us.
He's in my basement right now.
He's in my closet. I wouldn't put it. Casey. So we switched that up and it just locked in, man. Like Nick came into the fold and just like was down and like saw what we were doing almost immediately. And I think it ended up working and pushing. And we've all come to the table with different song ideas over the years, different parts, different transitions, melodies, this and that. Like Jay's been like the guy that comes in with like the secret weapon mosh part, like at the end of a song, or like
for the people listening, Jay is
my singer.
Okay.
So yeah, Jay is my singer. Mike Shaw is my guitar player, and a guy named Nick Haynes is my bass player. To anyone who is listening, my name's Donny. And it's kind of remained the same from there. Like I said, it's always kind of been like we start with the core. It kind of goes in the number factor. Like it's two of us, and then Nick will join in, bass gets added, and then by the time it gets to Jay, we've had anywhere between 1 to 3 to an album's worth of material, and it's always been like a natural thing that's just kind of worked. That it is me and Mike cranking out songs, just getting together. I mean, for a while we had the old school storage unit practice space, and then we actually wrote a ton of stuff. We wrote the entire Swinging Swords EP in Mike's living room, while Mike half of it Mike was recovering from a major car accident that he had gotten in like early 2019. And yeah, just like used the recovery time, like when the pandemic hit, was like, all right, cool, we're just gonna meet up and write a record. And I remember being like, oh cool, here's my COVID test, it shows negative, I'm coming over. And we but like I would leave a drum kit at his house because he lived like 10 minutes away from me at the time. And it made it easy, and I think for him, I don't want to speak for him, but I think for him, writing helped him mentally through the recovery process of, getting in the car accident, and then being able to still channel it and focus it into music, I think was maybe the best thing for him, because it really, it kept him going to see like, hey, we can still do this. And, a lot of it, like we put it out during the pandemic. We recorded it in January, right before the pandemic hit, but Mike had already been in recovery at that time. And if I'm remembering it correctly, yeah, we put it out in April, and it sold like 3 entire presses in like a month, which is like mind blowing, because it's like during the pandemic, no one's doing anything. Everyone's seeing just like new music come out left and right. And I remember thinking at one point, I mean, who knows if music, like live music, is ever going to happen again? We all thought that. But putting something out during the pandemic was like, I remember us putting it out and me having a crazy amount of anxiety, because I was like, no one could care about this. It could go in and people could see it and give it one listen and go, bye. Because at that point, like, no one really knew what was going on. So no one I know really cared about anything besides not dying from COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of it, really, with the writing process.
Yeah, I was gonna say COVID was a extremely like prolific time for writing music. It was, I mean, I learned to do things over COVID. I learned how to record music, on my own.
Yeah.
I never knew how to do it. I always just sat at the drum kit, and then I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I'm bored. I'm gonna learn something new. And I did all these like cover projects and stuff, So it was cool.
Dude, which is
I had access to all these singers that would sing in the cover project, and then after COVID, everyone
that's so
was back
sick.
on tour, so I couldn't do any. It was harder to get people.
Sure. I mean, that's cool as hell, though. I definitely had a couple of other COVID projects that came to light during that, just because, me and another friend of mine, a longtime friend, my barber, his name is Tony, and he plays right now. He plays guitar in Crusher Soul. He plays guitar in Kingdom AD, a bunch of other Hudson Valley based bands. And me and him did a thing over the pandemic, and it was great because we just, you have the time. It was like, all right, cool. Let's just get into a room and see what
Mm-hmm.
see what we get within 8 hours. That's it. And it's like, cool. We made a demo in 8 hours. Great. This is awesome. But yeah, I remember I also, weirdly enough, like, I worked during the pandemic, and I wasn't an essential worker. I worked for a massive music chain in the Northeast, based in Middletown, New York. I don't necessarily want to say the name because I didn't leave on that great of terms. I think we might know who they are. Either way, I worked all through the pandemic because my boss at the time was like straight up breaking the law, and was like telling people to come in and like what's up, pup? He was like telling people to park in the back of the store, like carpool if possible.
Oh, wow.
Because we were getting at the time, that place was getting like 10,000 Amazon orders a day. It was absolutely insane, and like we couldn't keep up. But he, as most people do, and as most people did during that time, like, you're either afraid that you like are not going to have a job overnight, or you're like, yo, it's the pandemic, but bills are still going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I still had to pay my phone bill. Like, none of those companies gave a shit that it was a pandemic. They were like, cool, you're still using your phone. You're still going to pay us, man. So wow. I worked all through the pandemic. So what little time that I did have, like, on my weekends, I just remember thinking, like, I have to take advantage of the people I know that aren't working and that are down to just get in a room and say, fuck it, let's have some fun, let's make some music, and just kind of see where it goes.
Nice. What year did Mindforce start?
Mindforce is started 2016.
You guys have been fucking busy then.
It's been a
right?
Say again?
Is it 4 full lengths? Or maybe not necessarily full lengths, but there's
no. So there's 2 full lengths. Let me go in order. So it was the demo. We did a split with Dead Heat.
Okay.
Early on. There's the first 7-inch called The Future Of. And then it went to Excalibur in 2018. 2020 was the pandemic. 2020 was Swinging Swords. We technically have 3 full-length LPs because we did a full set. We did like a live on Axe to Grind thing a few years ago. So that is technically, like, it's uploaded to our Spotify as a full length. That I don't, like, it's weird. I do count it, but I don't count it. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, it's not.
I'm glad you actually brought that up. Is that live, like at a show, or just in a room?
No, that was at a studio.
Okay.
That was just at a studio that, the Axe to Grind guys had like a specific studio in Jersey that they wanted us to go to and use. So we did. And just kind of went in and we're like, let's just play a normal set. And I think if I'm correct, we did an obituary cover on that record. I think we did the end complete. And yeah, so it's weird. Yeah, it's like I categorize that as a full length, but I don't, because it like doesn't feel like one to me.
Right. That's fair.
But then New Lords came out, and that one we spent a good amount of time on. We spent a lot of time writing it, same thing, like a lot of nights or just like a lot of weekends meeting up, whether it's at Mike's or like Jay and Nick live about an hour north of me. So I'm in Newburgh. They live just in like the Rhinebeck area.
Okay.
And then Mike is further at the time he had moved into like Western Orange County into Walk Hill. So we're all we're in the same area, but we're a little spread out, right about by an hour or so. And yeah, New Lords was exactly that. It was like a lot of trips up to Jay's, a lot of times going out to Mike's and just sitting there and writing and tossing ideas back and forth. And it's weird, like New Lords came together pretty easily, but it was what I remember was the overall time that it took to like nail down New Lords and like get everything fully written to where we were happy with it, ready to go in the studio. And I think that we took our time. It was about a year and a half just from like start to finish, where we like sat down and went, okay, it's LP number 2. Let's go. And then recording New Lords was like I'd say one of the most enjoyable recording experiences I've ever had. We went up to this big studio up in Buffalo. I think forgive me if I'm mispronouncing. I think it's GCI or GCW. Big, massive, cool ass studio up in Buffalo that, funny enough, the day that we had 2 days in the studio, the night before we were there, all the Griselda Records guys were there, just like Conway the Machine and Benny the Butcher and West Side Gun and all these guys that, like, for the hip hop scene we all love. And you could walk in and they have a contract with GCI that they're the only people that are allowed to smoke weed in the studio.
I knew
and we walked in the next day, and like we walked in and we're just like, hell yeah. It was so funny. But it was so good, man. Like I got to really spend time like dialing in the drum sounds that I wanted. I mean, we went through a few different kits. We went through about 10 different snares. And I was happy to do that because every release that Mindforce has done, it's been very, not lack of attention to detail, but it was like we went in and just like, kind of in the old school, just like punk mentality, where we went in and we're just like, all right, cool, we're set up, we're ready, let's rip, let's go, let's get through the songs. And like I think a couple of the songs on all the records, but a couple of the songs on Excalibur are one take. A couple of the songs on New Lords are one take. That like once we dialed it in, it was like cool. But we worked with a guy up in Buffalo at that studio named Jay Zubricki, who was just, again, like top-notch engineer, like the kind of guy that anybody would want to go into a studio and work with, because he was so like very, very patient guy, but also very, very knowledgeable of like, hey, this is how I want my drums to sound. This is kind of what I really love. I'm a guy that like, I love big open drum sounds. I don't do anything to my drums. I like hate, for my own personal, I like hate dampeners. I hate putting anything in a bass drum. I like big, yeah.
Because dampener off.
Because, and it's just, somebody got in my head years ago and was like, listen, there's two perspectives. There's your perspective over top of your drum kit, around it within like a 2-foot radius. And then there's the perspective of somebody that's 30 feet back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what are your drums sound out there is actually more important than what they sound when you're on top of them.
Right.
And that really like stayed with me for still to this day. So I got really obsessive about tuning, and I got really, really obsessive just about figuring out what head combinations work with what shells work with just every piece of a drum kit really does go in and affect the sound. I don't care who's saying what. And I think even down to the washers you use on tension rods, everything affects it, because you're essentially taking a piece of wood that is a pocket of air resonating, and like depending on the tones and how long you want your toms to ring out, or how dead you want them to sound, or the guys that tune their drums to certain notes that, hey, cool, go for it. I don't live my life like that. I think I rely on certain tones that I look for, and I rely more so on like actual vibration, because like we all know that, if you hit a floor tom and it sounds real flappy and gross, you're gonna immediately, versus rather than for me trying to overly obsess about a certain note or one specific drum cascading from a fifth into the floor tom. It's like, no, no, I'd rather just use my ear, go by what I know sounds good, but then thinking about it from the audience perspective and say, okay, well, if it sounds good here, how does it sound out there?
Yeah. Well, and even in the studio, you've got your room mics that are, sometimes they're quite far from the drums, and
Yeah.
that room sounds really mixed in sometimes. And if it sounds good to those mics, then that it kind of
Oh
is
yeah.
doing the same thing, what you're talking about.
Exactly.
It's almost like
So
an audience perspective.
yes. Oh, absolutely. And for me personally, I insist on room sound being a part of
Yeah.
any recording. If it's blended well and somebody knows how to really blend tones together, because of the fact that, like you said, you're getting an audience perspective, but you're getting a completely different sound result 20, 10, 20, 30 feet out than you are over top of a drum kit.
Yeah.
And as we all know, like I said, for me it's like drums were explained to me as like, yo, this is a pocket of air that, depending on how you manipulate it with certain heads, certain tunings, dampening or not, it's all going to depend on how that air moves when you strike it. Because then another cool thing someone told me years ago was, the minute that you strike a drum, whatever note that you actually have it tuned to jumps up about 2.5 octaves, because of the actual force of strike. And a lot of people don't take that into account, because they'll go around and they'll tune from tension point to tension point. You do the crisscross thing, whatever, and that's great. You'll get your drums in a zone where you want them, and then smack it and it jumps and it's wrong, and you're just like, what did I do wrong? Why does this sound so out of whack? And it's, I think, because of that. I think a lot of drummers and a lot of I don't want to say people that lack knowledge, because it's not that. It's I think people go for a certain sound that they hear in their head based off of what they maybe hear in recordings. You hear, the guy on YouTube that has a beautiful, perfectly tuned sounding kit. It's like, yeah, it might be the case, but like, I guarantee you that guy spent hours dialing in his kit. And if whoever that is, like, yo, if you want to use like a tune bot, or you have a tuning method that works for you, dude, by all means, cool. And then like, because my perspective is going to be different than the both of yours. They might be close, but I'm going to hear something differently than you can line 10 people up in front of me. We're all going to hear it just a little bit differently.
So are you saying people who tune their drums to a certain note, are you saying it's better if you tune it to a different note in the ballpark, so when you hit it, it goes to the note that you want?
That's what I would think, as somebody that doesn't do that.
I don't either.
Yeah, I just think that whether you're a person that tunes it to a specific note or not, I think that's one detail that a lot of people, a lot of drummers don't think about.
Yeah, I've never
Um,
thought about that.
Really, I think for me, and when I incorporated that into my playing, I was able to find a way to tune my drums that they sit really, really balanced in just about whatever I do. I mean, if you're tapping them, they might sound a little bit low, but if I'm playing at full force,
Right.
and if I'm in my brain, like if I'm at my shop and I'm running through a Mindforce set, or I'm running through the Wretched Right stuff, or I'm just fucking around to fuck around, it's the second that you actually go and lay in, that note is going to jump up no matter what you do, because of the fact that you're putting force, and essentially for that second that you're striking it, that tension on the head is jumping up, by however many units of measurement with a tune bot would go by.
Yeah, I've never thought about
PSI
that.
maybe. It's kind of it's interesting to think about, and I still think about it all the time. It's same thing with definitely with snares too, man. Like I either hear it's funny, I hear the mix of right now people that are tuning their snares. There's either what I call the low lows. This is a term I say. You have the low lows or the high highs. That you have guys that are tuning their snares that sit in like a nice mid range. They have a nice crack off of a rim shot, but then live, we might be 20, 30 feet out in the crowd and go,
It's
that thing
buried.
that thing is buried, or man, that thing, like, it's got good tone, but it sounds really dead.
Yeah.
And then you have the guys that are the opposite, and this is even more present in punk and metal and hardcore right now. Are the people that are cranking their snares as high and as tight and as with much tension as you can find, which I love. I love hearing the range of it all. But then you hear a drum that's choked, no matter what. And then, like, unless you're hitting that thing hard every single time,
Right.
you're not getting the desired result either. So again, it just comes down to figuring out what heads work for certain drums. And I think that's, oh God, we could keep going into this. Is like, it's an endless combination of heads and tension rods and wires that'll work on a snare or rack toms, whatever. And those combinations, just some of them really work, some of them don't. I think right now I've been seeing this crazy influx of drummers using clear heads on their snare, which isn't bad. I think it's cool. But I know that certain clear heads, the Mylar, the actual material that is made for the heads, snare heads they're made differently. They're any company, Evans, Remo, whatever, Aquarian, they'll all tell you that it's all the same Mylar, it's the same thicknesses. This isn't bullshit. It's not. And you can put the same heads, like a 14-inch head is going to fit on a 14-inch drum, but the certain heads just aren't going to sound good on a snare. Just like certain heads aren't going to sound good as rack tom heads or resonant heads or whatever the case may be. And it's just a trial and error thing. When, like, I have this one, my workhorse snare with Mindforce is it's actually a Natal hammered copper, and I got it years ago, like before the pandemic, and it's one of those drums that it's like I can do nothing to it that sounds bad. But I found this one combo that I've been rocking with for a few years now, and I'm not changing it. And what's that?
You're going to tell the people, or are you going to keep it a secret?
I'm getting there. So I mean, the bottom is actually, I went with an Evans Hazy 200. I went slightly thinner than a 3 mil reso head, so I went slightly thinner. But then on the batter side, I use a Heavens hydraulic black coated. So it's like the thinnest of the thin with one of the thickest heads you can get. And it allows for that bottom head to breathe. but that top head to be cranked, and it sits in this, to me, this beautiful realm of like, it's not too cranked, but it sounds like it is, and it's breathing like it was tuned 4 octaves lower. And so it's just I've done so much to it that as soon as I landed on that one, I went, I'm never putting any other combo on this drum
And
ever again.
It works great live in the studio.
Oh my God, it works. So yes, it works incredibly well in the studio. It works incredibly well live. It's like, I love
backs, dude, for sure.
Yeah. If you've seen most, I want to say almost 95% of any Mindforce videos that have popped around in the last 3 years, that's it. You'll see like a hammered copper snare, and like it's just a monster. I got it. I got it working at the shop that I was working at a bunch of years ago for a steel, and I continue to just be blown away by this thing. And now with my recent partnership with SJC, I want to recreate the same snare with them. They have a hammered copper that they've been working with lately that I'm going to try, probably within the next month or so, see how that goes and see really how they compare. Because obviously, like riding for SJC now, like they're such a great bunch of guys. They're a great company. But I can't deny, and I even told them this going in. I was like, listen, I know you guys will make me a great set of shells. The drums themselves, man, I have never been happier with a drum kit in my life. And I've played, you name it, I've played it type of a thing, especially with working for a shop like a major drum retailer or just a major music retailer, but running a drum shop for like a decade. I've seen so many different kits. I've seen so many different configurations and wood setups and heads and you name it. And they, no matter what, and this is not me trying to like gussy them up in a podcast. It's like, dude, they straight up like, that kit blows my mind every single time I sit behind it. And I don't know why. It's really nothing overly fancy. I didn't go nuts with the shell configuration. I went pretty standard sizes. I think they just knew what I wanted. And I think when I told them what heads I was putting on it, they kind of went, okay, you're going to be happy. And they were right.
What's the cut on the bearing edge? You're getting nerdy now.
No. Okay. Yeah. So it is a dual 40. They're both 45s, but the inner is a rounded over 45.
Okay.
So they're both 45. So the way that the heads sit, in my opinion, same thing. It lets them breathe just a little bit more. That, for me, with the way I play, I have such a heavy hand. And I thought about that going into it. And I went, I really want a way that this drum is going to sit and have a lot of attack, or these drums are going to sit, the heads are going to sit really nicely, have a lot of attack, but they're going to be able to breathe. If I want to potentially tune them up and like make it into a jazz kit, I can do that. If I want to tune them super, super low, I can do that. But again, it's like, you won't catch me with any dampening on them. You won't catch me with anything really. I just love wide open, as big and huge as they can sound. And it's like, man, I went with a 13 over a 12, and I'm glad I did that. I almost went with a 14 rack tom, but I thought that would be a little bit overkill. Not
13 by 9 or
no. So 13 by 8 rack tom, 16 by 15 floor tom, and a 1622 kick, which no, excuse me, 22 17. Because I wanted, truthfully, I have no, SJC knows this, I straight up ripped off of Yamaha sizes. Because I was a big, long time Yamaha fan, and I've had a few. Dude, I mean, I've had a few
Stage
Yamaha
custom
kits. Dude, I mean, between a stage custom, I had an oak custom for like a year. That's the only drums that I've ever really regretted selling were my Yamaha kits.
Me too. Me too.
Absolutely. Hands down, man. I don't know. And I mean, I don't know how much you guys know. I don't know how much you know about the background history of the Yamaha connection with drums. But there was this one family, and they still exist. They're called Sakai drums right now. They're very niche. They're not really seen a lot of places in the world, but they're there. And this family called the Sakai family was the major manufacturing family of Yamaha drums from the late 80s into the 2010s. And it's like, we all know, if you guys are geeky drum nerds, Yamaha's finishes, some of the finishes on their drums have been like mind-blowingly gorgeous. These fades with like different crazy oak burls and mappa inlays and stuff like that. And it's all based off of like 6 people from the Sakai family that just like, they were obsessed with drums, just probably like we are.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know is that there was a rift at some point. I think they wanted more from their kits because it was around the time when I know that I started noticing prices really starting to go up. When I remember, and I'm going to sound like a 90-year-old man saying this, but it was I really am, because it's like, when I noticed sticks going up is when I started to really paying attention.
Yeah.
And looking around and being like, oh, cool. A pair of sticks is no longer $7.
They're like
now they're
$12
not
or something, or 16.
Dude, now a pair of sticks. I went and bought a pair of sticks at just like a random Guitar Center. I was driving home from somewhere. I forget. I was like, yeah, let me stop. I need a couple pair of sticks. And they were $15 a pair.
Oh my God.
Dude, and it's like, I'm not playing anything crazy. Like, I don't, some guys like I forget the fire burned Pro Marks, or the guys that have like the grip on them. There are like whatever, some specialty sticks. It's like, yo, I play Pro Mark 2Bs, and I've been playing Pro Mark 2Bs for 20 years, and they stayed the same for the longest time. And then when I noticed them go up to about $9.50, I think it was $10 a pair. That's when I started. I had been in music retail for a few years at that point, and I took a step back and I really looked around and I went, "Oh, everything's going up." Because no matter what, the same thing, like a 20-inch crash is like $500.
Yeah,
it's insane. So it's like. I have this funny thing where if Mindforce travels, so I'll bring my cymbals in one of those like fancy little SKB cases, and I've had my cymbals lost a couple of times, and like I've always recovered them like from the airlines, but I've had them lost a few times, and Mindforce had this thing where like they'd look over and we'd go to baggage claim, and I would just be pacing back and forth because I would be sitting there just being like, they lost them again.
Yeah.
They lost them again. And until like I see them and they're like in my possession, I have like mini panic attacks until I have them, because it's like
$1,000 too.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, this is a rolling case that's worth $4,000 for like not really that much stuff inside. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it's like, yo, I don't, a couple pieces of thin brass. And I remember even then, the first time that they lost my cymbal case, or it got misplaced, I have 2 crashes that, right before the pandemic, I was very fortunate enough to go into the Zildjian factory, and I picked 2 cymbals directly from the vault. And it's weird that like they told me as I was leaving, they're like, you're part of this weird elite club now, because 2 things, they told me 2 things. They went, people that get cymbals directly out of the vault might be big name touring guys that all around the world, that like they may have an inside rep that goes and picks a cymbal from the stack of crashes that sits between this gram weight and this gram weight. They were like, yo, they're like, some of the people that get cymbals out of the vault don't ever see the vault. Then some of the people that see the vault and get to tour Zildjian don't get to take anything home from it. Then they were like, then there's this small group of people that get to do all of it. They get to see the vault, pick the cymbals that they want to pick, like A-B them in the vault, and then leave with them. And I did that.
That's fucking.
And where's his factory? Isn't it in Turkey?
No. Oh God, no. What's wild is Zildjian is produced about 30 minutes outside of Boston.
Oh.
And you can go in, like you can walk in and probably schedule a tour. It's like I recommend to anybody, even if they don't give you a tour, just going into the lobby is like insane. It's one of the craziest factory tours I've ever done. I've been fortunate enough to do a couple of them over the years. Zildjian blew my mind because like, yo, I like sat at one of Ringo's kits. I sat at one of Buddy Rich's kits that like, for me, like Buddy Rich, like I grew up on him. Like I'm not like a classically trained jazz guy. But I think if I had to list one of my favorite drummer, I don't know who would be first, but like he's in the top 3.
Yeah. Hands
down, just because I would watch the guy. He was one of the guys that I would watch and just be like, I don't want to play drums anymore. Which to me is always, in a weird way, it was always the best motivating factor, because I would watch guys like that and just be dumbfounded on how they would do what they were doing, especially with Buddy playing traditional grip the entire time,
right?
You know, and making fun of people that played match grip and were like, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. He's a bit of a curmudgeon.
Yo, you know what? He was. He definitely was. Without, obviously, I'd never met him. He died a few years before I was born. I'm lucky enough to know a few people that knew him and had spent some time with him. And I think the stories that I've heard it's exactly the mix of like, yo, he could be a colossal prick. Other times he was like the nicest dude and was like super, super friendly. He was, from what I could gather, he was very, very nice and polite to the younger generation, because he knew that the younger generation was going to be responsible for carrying on music like once he died. And I mean, I could tell you stories of stories from friends of mine, but there's a couple of them I've heard that are just like really, really fucking funny, involving Buddy Rich, and a couple others, man. Like I've been really fortunate to cross paths with some of my favorite drummers, out, you know, both in and outside of the hardcore scene. And for me, like meeting Dennis Chambers a few years ago was like mind blowing to me. And not even that I grew up on. Like he played for Steely Dan, he played for Chick Corea for a little while. I didn't grow up on any of those bands, and to me, they're cool. I was one of the kids that had a Dennis Chambers VHS at like 7, and so it was like watching meeting the guy that like I would like put the VHS in and like rewind it and like watch him, like just watch this guy play drums was like insane. And then to see it like 5 feet away was, oh my God. It was like, this guy's like, he's half the reason I have some of the fills that I do. He's half the reason I even have any form of a grasp on any sort of groove.
Did he pass away recently? Is he still going?
Not that I've heard of. I know Dennis. Okay. I know Dennis was sick for a little while.
Maybe that's what it was.
He might have been sick for a little while.
Oh, that's what it was, and he came back like just as good.
Yeah. Oh, he came back better.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's one of those dudes. He lost it. Well, I don't. It's unconfirmed. I don't know what he was sick with. I'm not that close to where I was able to get that information. I assumed it may have been a battle with cancer, or it could have been. I don't know. I don't really want to speculate. You could. Either way, man, I know that like he lost a bunch of weight and he came back, and a buddy of mine who I know, buddy of mine named Jamie, who's another guy that like, this guy's the guy I'm referencing now. Jamie is like jazz royalty, because he's the nephew of Jimmy Cobb, who played on Kind of Blue with Miles Davis.
No shit.
Yeah, dude. And like me meeting Jamie, Same thing. I'm at the drum shop one night, and just in walks Jamie one day randomly. I had never met him, and we instantly, like, I looked at him. I was like, "You look real familiar." And he's like, "Yeah." I definitely. It's like, I've seen you around here and there, and different shops here and there. And we got talking, and like by the end of the night, it's just like instant friend. And he kind of slid it in there, real slide. It was like, "Oh yeah," it's like, I mean, you might know who my uncle was. My uncle was kind of a famous drummer. And I was like, "Oh no shit, try me. Who are you talking about?" He's like, "You ever heard the name Jimmy Cobb?" And I was like, Jimmy Cobb from like Miles Davis. He's like, "Yeah." It's like, my uncle played on Kinda Blue. And I'm just like, dude, you're kidding me. And this is all wild because it was during a time where I don't know, I like woke up one day and jazz made sense to me. So I went through a whole I went through a whole period of time where I was like, man, I love jazz. Like I just couldn't get enough of it. And I meet Jamie like in that time period where I'm having like a jazz awakening in my brain. And here comes this dude who his uncle is the guy. It's like he's like the guy on the jazz record. I'm like, this is insane.
That's wild, man.
Absolutely. Oh, it was nuts.
Yeah, dude. So, all right, I got something. Maybe we can do. The three of us can do. I want to. I ask both of you, and then I'll go. Is who's a drummer that you love? That if people listen to your music and what you play, that was influential, that someone would be like, no fucking way.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go Clyde Stubblefield.
First off, good one. Ooh, no way. I think by default, I have to say Adam Carson, because nobody looks at me and thinks I'm as massive of an AFI fan as I am. And that guy is the reason that I learned how to play any sort of fast, aggressive punk stuff. Really, because he's the first one. Like, I remember exactly where I was when I heard The Boy Who Destroys the World for the first time and heard that. Like, I'll never forget. I know exactly where I was. And I want to say him by default, but then that's a great question. I can't pick one.
Was he frozen?
Uh-oh. It froze a little bit.
He's frozen.
Well, the audio isn't frozen, just the video. It'll do that sometimes. It'll do that, it's a little testy. Yeah, like for me, I mean, so the question was, state the question again.
So just like a drummer that inspired you, that if someone listened to your music probably wouldn't be able to guess that was the drummer that inspired you.
Like
maybe something that.
Yeah, I mean, like my band Fire Sale, I don't think people would think Bill Stevenson was my biggest, or even like Trey Cool from Green Day, because Fire Sale is kind of different, and I wasn't inspired by drummers that played that style of music. It was more like the old like Lookout Band kind of, lots of eighth notes lots of eighth notes and hi-hats and, kind of that fast mid-tempo-y feel.
Nice.
Sure.
But probably like the machine that played the drum machine from They Might Be Giants early records. Not even a person.
I like that one.
A machine.
That was good. That was good.
Before they started hiring musicians.
That's like, you ever been to a Chuck E. Cheese before? That animatronic beaver? That guy was fucking sick, dude. I'm gonna go animatronic beaver from the fucking Chuck E. Cheese man, but whatever.
Oh my god.
I was obsessed. The dog that had the drumsticks on the Rockafire band from what's it called? Showbiz. I'd sit there and watch that dog with those drumsticks and his hi-hat and his snare. You know, I thought that was cool when I was little. But this was back in the 80s when I was little, you know.
Oh man.
It'd be weird.
Okay. So I got a good one. In that sense, it would be the fictional drummer of the band called The Beats that were on the show Doug.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember that show.
And I remember, dude, Nickelodeon, if I remember right, the dude just had he had no lines in the show and he just had drumsticks in his hand, but like hair over his face. And just and all he did was there's a scene when Doug Funny and like his friends are at the I think the fast food place and they run into the Beats and they're like singing the song back to each other. And the drummer just does the thing where he just goes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. That's his whole involvement in the whole thing. And I'd be like, it's that guy.
Yeah, but can you even play Killer Tofu on drums?
I can.
That's fucking great, dude.
I can recite the lyrics.
The thing is I was probably influenced by, you know, all the stuff my parents listened to, you know, when I was growing up, but I didn't know their names. I didn't know the drummer's name. I was a kid,
Sure.
but I was already obsessed with drums back then. I just didn't really realize the gravity of it. So
sure.
and, I didn't have, you know, this was before CDs and stuff, and I didn't have money to buy stuff. So it was just whatever was on the radio my parents would listen to. So I was probably inspired by a lot of drummers early on. I just didn't know who they were. And I can probably go back and look up now.
Definitely. So I actually got one for you guys.
Okay.
Because I love this one for myself. What were some of your, if you could pick one, what was your earliest drumming influence that you can cite and be like, I know who that was?
Oh, wow. I mean, honestly, as far as sitting down and trying to actually play the stuff, at the beginning, is that what you mean?
Well, whether it was sitting down trying to play the stuff or you heard a band and you knew either who the drummer was or maybe you were young enough or old enough, kind of maybe use it as a bigger umbrella of, you had an influence, whether early on or the earliest person that grabbed your attention as a young drummer for yourselves.
I think mine was probably Phil Collins, who I became aware of the most.
Sure.
You know?
Again, I'm trying to think too. I mean, it's funny as it sounds so cliche, but I don't really remember much before, because before punk and hardcore and metal, it was all hip hop, so it was all samples and drum machines for me, and I mean I still love that stuff. But I think the first drummer that I heard on a punk record that blew my mind was actually the first drummer of Bouncing Souls, that dude Shal, because he was all over the place. It was really loose. It was jazz, but
yeah
punk. He'd crash on the hi-hats, and a chorus would go back and forth between the hi-hat and the ride, not just stay on the ride.
Sure.
He just had a really weird loose, cool style of playing. So I would probably say that was the one that I remember really hearing and just being, what the fuck? And it didn't sound like anything else I'd ever heard of that, especially within that world of punk rock, where, I mean, dude, me wrong, but drums can sometimes be a little, and then, especially the early 80s stuff is a little straightforward. There's not a lot of
oh god, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Shal.
Yeah.
Sick.
Even Don Henley of the Eagles, I was blown away when he can sing and play the drums at the same time.
My guy, we share. Well, listen, we share the namesake.
He lives here in my state of Texas.
Does he?
Yeah.
Dude, he's one that I would love to come across one of these days. I would love to meet that guy and just be like, hey man, do you know how incredible Boys of Summer is as a song?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Do you know how many times I have every emotion? It's dude, I've sang that cruising down the highway with the best friends, just screaming it out of a fucking convertible. I've sat in a corner crying my eyes out to that song because some girl just broke my heart. Or the opposite, looking at that dude with the Eagles being able to immediately the song I Can't Tell You Why. comes to mind. Can't tell
I
you
think their bass player
why.
sang that one, right?
Dude, he sang
Can't
that
remember his
one.
name. With the long hair.
Yes, I can see him in my head. I don't know.
The bass player with long hair.
Right, well, the bass player with long hair. But yeah, dude, Don Henley was definitely up there for me because like my dad and like I was raised by my grandparents, and they were like they loved the Eagles. They a lot of that early like the bigger groups like that, like your Eagles, your Aerosmith, stuff like that. Like I had pretty progressive grandparents growing up, and I think my earliest that I remember like captivating me and being like, who is that? What the hell is he doing? Was Keith Moon from The Who.
Mm-hmm.
And just like total wild man of a drummer, like completely nuts, man. Same thing. Like I've heard a few stories and like of that guy just like completely off of his fucking rocker. But like you put him behind a drum set and he's just like a killer. Didn't play with a hi-hat.
Right, I know, and that bothers me. I don't know why that bothers me. I think it's because I have a reoccurring nightmare that I don't have a hi-hat at a show.
I'm sorry, guys, but I let my intrusive thoughts went over here and make a whole.
Let's go.
So you said that your grandparents raised you and they were pretty progressive.
Yes.
Did they raise you in an odd time signature?
No.
Fucking
no.
Anyways.
No, they didn't. They weren't that progressive.
They weren't actually.
They weren't.
Dude, I had
good question.
Pretty much everything anyone has said so far, I've had one of those thoughts, but I had to let that one out. But dude, so we're approaching like an hour and a half right now, and I kind of feel bad because we haven't really talked about like. I'd love to go over just a couple parts.
Sure.
And like, dude, I often say, Matt's witnessed this many times where I have questions that they're pretty much either just observations or compliments that I'm asked as a question. But the breakdown in Karma Lasts, that fucking closed hi-hat, the way you like lean in, so like the first couple measures close hi-hat, and then you just slowly open it, when I think most drummers would have started with it open and then switched to just for that second half. And I've noticed that I guess my question would be the restraint that you play with in Mindforce, because you could go fucking absolutely crazy with some of that stuff. Is that just the way you play, or is that intentional, or does it kind of just depend on like the feel of the moment? Because like that I always loved that breakdown and just how clean and simple it was, and it wasn't too much and it wasn't busy. Like, yeah, to talk a little bit about.
That's it's one of my favorites too, really. That closed hi-hat part a lot. I remember specifically us bouncing the idea, just kind of A-Bing it and being like, all right, cool, let's start it. That it starts with that jugga-dun, 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 like that triplet drum fill, and then goes into the hi-hat part. We A-B'd it, and we're like, okay, how's it hit harder? And I am a fan now. I wasn't always this way, but I will always go closed hi-hat before it opens up now, because there's just something about it that makes the part stand out and just hit so much harder. There's something about that I think people are almost expecting after a build up like that. They're kind of expecting like a dun 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 blah, dun dun. You're expecting like a crash or an open hi-hat, and it's like, nah.
Nah.
It comes down to, in that sense, playing. It's both playing for the part, but playing to let the other parts speak for themselves. Like there's whatever, like the chug pattern that Mike's doing, and is just chug-a-dung, 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 and it's like, all right, I don't need to do anything more than that. I just need to keep it nice and rock steady, and just do that. It's really in my brain whenever I play that part, is like I have this little voice going on, and just like, yo, keep it tight, just as tight as you can possibly get it, so that single quarter note chick carries, And then that second measure hits, when it opens up, it's going to go from, you feel the levels increase every time.
You put a breakdown in a breakdown.
Oh yeah.
And
oh yeah. I mean, it goes from Mosh 1 to Mosh 2.
And then you broke down the breakdown to us right now.
Yeah, and what makes a good drummer is those dynamics that you're talking about. You know, dude, how many bands have you played with? And you can look at the drum kit and already tell they're going to be not so great, right? Because they're set up funny. You know, the toms are kind of positioned funny, but then they have no sense of dynamic either. Yeah. You know, and it's usually the whole band. But I think that's what separates a lot of great bands is the knowledge of playing dynamically.
Well, I absolutely agree. And I think a lot of it is feel.
Yes.
Like a lot of it's feel, and a lot of things that dude, I don't care who you are. Less is always more.
Mm-hmm. It's my motto.
Doesn't matter. Less is more, man. Especially for music, for artwork, bands. Like you're designing a crazy dude. I can't speak yet. I still everyone thinks I'm bald, but I have like this nice, great full head of hair.
Me too.
Sick.
I look like an old man when I take my hat off.
Sorry, I completely interrupted you there. I apologize.
No. It's all, dude. I think just in that sense, it's like that breakdown with the closed hi-hat in a way. So I've been asked about Nightmare as well. So Nightmare comes in with the way the lead comes in, jun 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 jun, and it like leads in, and it starts on like the bum 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 bum, and 1 and 2 and 3 and it's like it starts half a measure before the riff actually comes in. And the way that we watched it happen with Nightmare with a closed hi-hat part, and then we didn't want to like overdo it, but a thing like a breakdown in a mosh part, like when Instant Karma Last was like, I think we just gotta go closed hi-hat right out of the gate. It's just something about it that will continuously make a heavy part sound even heavier somehow. I don't know. One of my favorites, it's not even recent, but it was on the first Pain of Truth record, the last song, LINYHC. The break is just dun 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 dun, and it's just closed hi-hat. It's just so simple for like and like that stuff does the thing what I call caveman mosh. It does this thing in my brain that it just like flips this switch, and I go, all right, I know it's time to mosh now. I didn't think about moshing 5 seconds ago. They put a closed hi-hat behind a chug chug, and it's like I'm throwing chairs across the room. Like, so it goes back to less is more. Really, I think.
Dude, I'm trying to think of the other song. Is it Fratello? Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
But like the intro to that, of like, and that's another thing too, is I guess, again, not a question, but just a compliment of just that ability just to go kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, where it fits, man. It just like, you're right. And I really actually enjoy hearing you say what you're saying. And I always appreciate, we've asked other drummers about this stuff, and they're like, I don't know, it just kind of fucking happened that way. Where like I like hearing that, and I like hearing how sometimes you guys like A/B things to see what works. But yeah, man,
you have to. I think it's one of the most important things to do. Is if there's 9 ways to play a certain part that may all sound good, you gotta honor all 9 of those possibilities, and then strip it down and say which one fits with this part. Because I think a lot of musicians, I'm not going to say just drummers, I'm not going to say just bass players, a lot of musicians tend to overplay certain parts, and without keeping that less is more mentality, in the sense of, dude, I can play a million blast beats going into 15 China hits, like whatever, cool. Play when the levee breaks. Like, if you know that one, like that's a funny way to put that, but like play a simple groove, and that's all you really might need, and it fits the song, and that's it. You really don't need anything else after that. And I think we as a society got into this thing and this mindset of like, I need to do as much as possible. I need to essentially, it's like peacocking. You're just like, I need to show everything that I can do at all times, needs to be the craziest, because if it's not, then how am I going to stand out? It's like, okay. It's like sometimes you'll stand out by playing less and by doing the things that you don't like, or just like playing something that you might intellectually want to go, I can play so much more over this part, and it really is not needed. And I think I would be remiss to not share one of my favorite quotes with you guys, like from a drummer's perspective. Came from Adam Carson of AFI years ago. It's in like a Modern Drummer, like 2004, 5, whatever, like early on. And I've straight up lived my life by it for the last 20 years. And it just says, part of what makes my drumming unique are the things I can't do.
Wow.
I still like, oh dear. There we go. I still live my life like that to, oh my God, what did I just do here? I somehow wrapped that around a water bottle. Anyway, that's just it. It's like part of what makes my playing unique is exactly the things I can't do. And I'm like, the first time I read that was like, somebody just like unlocked something in my brain, and I saw my playing in the world a little bit differently from that day on. And I was like, dude, it's okay for me to be inspired by guys like say Thomas Hawk from Meshuggah. The guy's a machine. He's incredible. He's incredible to watch. He's amazing. I know that I can play 1,000 hours of practice, 1,000,000 hours, and I'm not going to get there. That's fine. I don't care, because then on the flip side, Thomas Hawk could look at me and go, I can't play 16ths on a hi-hat like that and make it sound cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's trade-offs.
How comfortable you are with your drumming, and just, it's great, dude. It's really like kind of, this has been just from the beginning of this, just hearing how you talk about drums and how passionately you speak about them. I wanted to have you on for a while now, actually, before the SJC thing even happened, and I'm even happier we did now, because this has been a great episode, dude. This has been killer.
Dude, it was great. And as soon as Jeff was like, hey, man, I know these homies that got this podcast. You want to hop on? I went, yeah, man. Absolutely. That's one thing that I could talk about drums forever and ever and ever. I don't, it's been that way since I was a little kid, man. I've been behind a drum kit since I was like 3.
Wow.
I got my first like kid kit at 3, and then got a full size Ludwig by 5.
I was 14.
And I went, dude, you know what, dude, it doesn't, to me, in that sense, It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you got it, when you didn't get it. I was just like, I've been fortunate enough to have that as a thing, as a creative outlet, as a extension of myself for so long, because it's like, I don't really know anything else, and that's fine. I don't care. And I think just me, the interest I have for drums and the weird like science behind it, but then seeing the science behind it goes not only into the actual construction of drums, what makes different sound combinations, what'll give you different results. It's also the science of watching different drummers play different styles. Really. And I think like one of my favorite dudes to watch right now is Benny from Tsunami, because he's just, there's something, same thing. There's something about his playing where dude hits incredibly hard. He makes certain shit look really, really easy. But Benny, I don't care what anybody can say. I know for a fact Benny is one of those people that put hours and hours and hours into playing in a room by himself and just studying the guys that he loved and he loves, and being like, hey, I'm going to try to emulate this as best as possible, because I don't care. Like, we don't live in an age of originality. We live in an age of refinement, meaning like you're going to hear something that really stands out to you, and you might not want to do the same fill that you've heard 1,000 other people do. So you're going to do your best to put your own spin on it. And are you original? No, because somebody else out there has done it. They may not have gotten it onto a recording. They may not have had that ability to play in a band and make that work and progress their playing in that way. But that's not to say that like that imaginary person I'm referencing, there isn't some person sitting in their bedroom, in their basement, in their storage unit somewhere that's absolutely ripping. You know, and I love thinking about that. I love it. I love that, like, that aspect of like, yo, there's probably some drummer out there that nobody knows their name and will never know, that has been a sponge for all of it. Like knows the gamut of like, cool, I love Mitch Mitchell, I love Peter Criss, I love Dave Weckl to Pantera, Vinnie Paul, like like they may absorb all of it and then just take it, and it refines their own playing, but they don't necessarily need to present that to anybody. You know, there are the people out there that are just so content to just get behind a drum set and just play, and it shuts their brain off for a little while. And then there are those of us that, dude, I like to think that that's the three of us having this conversation right now, because, dude, no matter what, for me, it's like I've had some of the best and worst days of my life behind a drum kit, and I know that for me, when I get behind a drum kit and when I'm sitting there, and especially like if it's showtime, whether it's Mindforce or any band that I'm on a stage and it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to count 4 clicks and we're starting the fucking set. Nothing else matters. Everything goes away. My house could be on fire and I'm going to go, okay, cool. I'm going to go, cool. I'll deal with it after this set. And there's
the only thing I can do to take my brain off, give myself a few minutes of peace here and there. It's wild.
And ain't it so funny that like we get this sense of peace from making loud, stupid noise? just, and I think that's a fun juxtaposition of drums in general. Is we make all this noise. We're very loud individuals. I mean, I know that I'm a boisterous, loud person off of a drum set, so I think it's funny that it only reflects on a drum kit. But I think that. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing whenever I hear somebody be able to do that, and just like, I don't know why. I just don't like I could have a million stresses in my day. I could the world could be falling down around me, and it's like, all right, cool. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'm going to go play this groove that's in my head. Well, or I'm going to go play.
Well, I was just saying, it takes everything, to it takes all of our limbs, our brain, our everything. So it does shut everything out, it's because you're using everything you have to play this. I don't know.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's gotten to the point with me now where if I'm having like a practice day, which I mean, dude, Donnie, I know we don't know each other well, but I have 3, youngest children. My oldest is only 14, and
sure, yeah, you were mentioning, yeah,
a lot of like the music stuff. Not like I'm some fucking hero, dude. It's my family. I love them, but most of my drum by myself in the basement. You know what I mean? And I've gotten to a point now that when I'm down here and I'm struggling for a day, I almost start to get psyched, because I know when I'm struggling in the next day or two, I'm gonna go up another, like, that struggle, that day that you suck when you can't play. That's like right before you're about to take a step up. Even if it's just a small step, like the next day or two after that, you're going to sit down and everything that fucking sucked is going to click. So now even when I suck,
oh yeah,
I'm getting psyched because I'm like, oh, it's fucking coming, where like that next step is right.
Oh,
that gets me.
Brother, I mean, I get it, man. For me, something a lot of people don't know about me is I don't have any like medical issues with it, but I have ridiculous sleep issues. I've never really slept well as a person. Like I don't really sleep more than 5-6 hours a night max.
Same.
And it'll be it. I don't know how I do it, because even like still nights where it's like, cool, I had a super late ass night. I was out till 5 a.m. on a Sunday and I have to be to work at 9. I'm still there. I'll sleep for a couple hours and I'm fine. What I'm getting at is there are nights where, I'll be home and I might not be absorbed in thought. My mind might not be racing. I just can't sleep. And without fail, I'm now fortunate that I have a place where I have a kit set up just about 24/7, because I have a separate practice space at the print shop that I manage, and I'm able to go in there at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and just rip and just play with the same ferocity that I could if it was 6 o'clock at night to, it's 3 in the morning. I don't have to worry about noise complaints. I don't have to worry about pissed off neighbors. I don't have to worry about anything. I can go leave my phone home if I want, just not think and just go rip. And it's been one of the only things that in my adult life has helped that sleep process, is the full body exertion of, and it doesn't matter whether I'm getting there at 2 in the morning and I'm playing brushes and I'm doing jazz fills. Doesn't matter whether I get there and I'm in some weird pissed off mood and I'm playing blast beats for 45 minutes straight. No matter, they both help in this weird way. And it's funny. Like I've had, I dated one girl for a very long time in my 20s, and she definitely saw all of it. She saw the like, yo, homie, it's 3 a.m. You got to go to sleep. And I'm like, I can't. I don't know why. I've just never slept well. And until recently, really the last few years of having the ability to have a kit set up and go down there and rip at just whatever time, it just does something to my brain where it puts me in this mode where I'm just like, oh, cool. I can my brain's off. You know what I mean? I guess then you guys will understand that exact feeling of like, I sit down at my kit and I can turn my brain off for that 20 minutes or however long. It doesn't matter. I think something about doing it at night for me helps me like settle in and be able to go, I can go to sleep now. And it's been the only thing. Like I've tried, I hate melatonin. I don't like sleep aids. I don't really take any medications. So it's just like, I don't really know why. My whole family's just been like, yo, you're the freak, dude. You're absolutely the freak. You sleep like 4 hours a night. And I remember like being in high school was bad because it was like, I was in bands. I was gigging at the time. Like, I think like 16, right? I was in bands. I was gigging, like, doing the thing of like, I'm playing weekends. I'm playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I went through a period of high school where I was straight up insomniac. I didn't sleep at night. I slept certain points during the day. And even then was like, oh, cool. The only time that like I'm able to like really knock myself out is like after a show or after a gig or something. And I don't know. I don't really have an answer for it. It's just one of those things that I think completely calms me down and goes back to what I said a few minutes before of like, dude, when I'm behind the drum kit, nothing else matters. I don't know why. And it's been that way since day one.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, the fact that you found that thing, it's a pretty beautiful thing. So dude, I hate doing this. This is always like my least favorite part, but we're rolling up on an hour and a half right now.
I get it.
No, but here's the thing, dude, is it's funny is
we're rolling up on 2 hours.
Oh, really? Well, we got started late, but it's funny is I'll write stuff down and most of the stuff you've gotten through. I would love to have you come back sometime and sit down, maybe answer a couple more questions if you're.
Absolutely. And then that one, you know what? The only reason why I wasn't able to do it from my practice space is because there's a band there tonight that's using the space. So I would love to be the same thing. Like I'd love to be able to do that, like give you a rundown of the practice space. Like that's one where like I have the SJC kit there. I have all my kits. Fun fact, fun last question, and then I'll let you guys go. How many drum kits do you guys have or own, or what's like the most that you've owned at one time, whether it's kits or snares or cymbals? Like what
Good
are we
question.
talking?
I usually only have 2 kits at a time. I may have like a junker at a friend's house to go fuck around on, which actually I do. Right now is the first time where I have 1 kit, but I have a 24 by 14, and then I have a 22 by 16 that I'll swap out the kicks with, and then
Nice.
I have a 12 by 11 tom. It was like a power tom for it, all Ludwigs, and then I have the 13 by 12 was cut down to a 13 by 9, and then I have a 14 and a 16. And I found for me right now is perfect because it's very utilitarian. It's all black. I don't have to worry about it. They're great shells, but they're kind of scuffed up. I don't have to think about it. And anything that I love fancy finishes, but the more I have to think about something, I get. That being said, I did get to a point where I think I had close to 19 or 20 snare drums, and it was fucking ridiculous.
Whoa.
Good. Yeah.
Yo.
Dude, when I was rolling in money for a minute, I think we paid like 2 or 3 months of our mortgage when I started selling them off. Well, dude, that was before Matt knows, but that was before I was diagnosed with certain things and got put on medication, and I had 0 impulse control. So I would see a drum and I would sweat until I took it. Now I have 3 snare drums. Well, I have a few more, but 3 that I use a lot. They're all tuned. One's high, one's mid, one's low.
Nice.
Kind of swap them out. Cymbals, that's another conversation. I don't know, but
I get it. What about you, Matt?
2 sets of hats and a couple rides, but nothing crazy.
I've got 3 right now. I've got my main is a pork pie. I think it's 13, 16. It's just rack floor.
Sure.
I've got a PDP kit that I bought for $300 off of Marketplace.
Hell yeah.
And it's a 4-piece kit. It's got like a 10-inch tom. I don't play. But you know what's weird is that PDP kit sounds the best. I have a Yamaha Stage Custom that I'm in the process of refurbishing and fixing up and everything. So, but I used to own a Yamaha Stage Custom back in the day. I think we're talking about that, and that was it didn't sound that great in the studio for some reason, but every time I played live, the sound guy would come up and be like, "That's the best kit I've ever heard." Dude,
I can tell you why.
It's never happened with any other kit.
Weird. So I'm assuming it was the Stage Custom Birch.
Yes, it was Birch. Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Red.
So that wine, the classic. So that's at least what I was always told is that you're like anything that's any sort of a darker tone, a maple, a walnut, an oak. They're your best friends in the studio. Birch is your best friend live.
Yeah.
No matter what. And it's so I mean that's always like, but again, that's one of those little things that like no one tells you. And sure, you can have a drum kit tuned the exact same way, but again, it goes back to how does it apply live? How does it apply to the studio? You have differences for different things.
Mm-hmm.
And oh fuck yeah, dude, same. Like I had one. I'm gonna blow your guys' mind. So I don't. My collection has definitely dwindled down since the drum shop days. At one time, I had 12 full kits, and I had something like 45 snares.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's the same. Like I would get them for cost.
Yeah.
So right. I would buy stuff and I would sell stuff out like you wouldn't believe. Like, I mean, I've owned something from almost all of the major like big department store brands, your Pearl, your Tama, your DW, owned something from just about every one of them. And, yeah, man, it's pretty nuts. And even right now I still have, including the 2 that are spread out, I have 7 full kits. and something still like 15 snares.
God.
Yeah, it's insane.
I have 4
It's
snares.
after it's nuts. I mean,
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I have 4 snares.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did it cut out again?
Not bad.
I have 4.
So Doc, we usually. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, you froze again, Matt.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say to Donnie that we usually take this out with a segment called Questions from My Kids. So I asked my 3 kids to write down some questions, and I'll be looking at
I love this
for the first time. So
I keep forgetting. I need to ask my
Here we go.
daughter. I keep forgetting.
So my youngest, my 8-year-old, is favorite animal.
I'm gonna say my cat by default.
Okay.
Because your cat's
I
looking
do.
at you,
I fucking
right?
love. You know, it's funny. She's like right there, but she's also
You better say me.
she's honestly she's the. You know what? Even if I didn't, dude, this cat. I wasn't a cat guy, until probably my late 20s, and I didn't grow up with them or anything. This cat is by far. She literally knows I'm talking about her. I've never had a sweeter cat. She's just like this incredibly sweet animal. She hasn't. I've had her almost a year and a half. She's never like peed on a blanket, pooped anywhere weird. She's never scratched me or anybody I know. She's just chill, man. She's like the most peaceful little animal I've ever encountered.
No.
I can't say that about my kids, dude.
What's that?
I can't say that stuff about my kids.
We have 7 cats in
so-
our house. 7
Jesus.
cats.
Oh, holy crap!
I know. It's like your snares.
That's
We collect
Yo,
cats.
I
it's
swear.
even worse because Matt actually hits them with sticks too when no one's looking.
Oh my god, dude! I can't even make this up. I swear to God, my cat just like walked past me on the left, and as you said, you were like, "I have 7 cats." I swear to God, she out of frame. She dead ass stopped and just did one of these, and was like, "What did you just say?" Like,
Wait, you're telling me there's more of me out there?
there's more than one. I am not the only cat in existence. Like,
Oh my god.
All right, man. So then
number 2.
we got funny or embarrassing on stage moment.
That's a good one.
Oh, ooh, let me
These
think,
always
let
make me
think
feel
for a
better.
second. Funny or embarrassing on stage moment. Okay, there's one that comes to mind specifically.
And how bad did you have the
That-
runs? Oh.
No. No, no. Thankfully, I've never, none of that. Like, I've never like pooped or peed myself, or, no, not even like I've played shows sick as fuck and been like, I'm gonna throw up and haven't. There was one show, the first year that Mindforce did FYA. We got halfway through our set, and I had been smoking a lot of legal cannabis, and and we got through like the whole set was great, but I ended a song like 2 minutes too early, and I had no idea, dude. Like none. I
That's
had
like the whole song.
no clue. Exactly. So, and I could tell you, it was. If you're familiar with the song, older song from Mindforce, it's called "They Just Want War." So there's two sections in the song where it's literally the transition and the intro into the mosh part. They repeat twice, and in my brain, the first time came around, and we're fucking locked in. We're hammering through it. Kids are going crazy, and it ended with like a and it's supposed to repeat the whole thing. and I just ended it there. I just and just stopped, and like they all just turn around and they're like, "You good?" I'm like,
Dude, that's the worst. When they all look at you too, and you're like,
dude, they all look at me, and my brain, like my high self at the time, was just like, I don't know what happened. I played the song. It's fine. And Jay's like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "I guess so."
I have a feeling, no, I'm not.
It's like, no. And then that established a rule after that show. They were like, Donnie's not allowed to do dabs at like before a show anymore. That's not happening. Yeah. So
Probably not the worst thing, man. All right, we got one for you. We got one more.
What do we got?
It just says pickles.
Yes.
Yeah. What kind?
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna say Kosher Baby Dills
Okay.
because they're the ones that are in my fridge right now.
I'm just glad those red freaks.
There is a local stand or a local business that does a farmer's market stand by me every week, and they make firecracker pickles.
Ooh.
And they sit in this like weird like Calabrian chili paprika brine, and they're exactly that. Like they're not spicy, but they're spicy. I don't know how to say it. Like you bite it. Yeah, you bite it and you're like, oh, this is kind of tingly. And you expect like afterburn, and there is none. It's just normal pickle.
How far are you from Albany?
An hour and a half.
All right. Next time there's this farmer market, let me know. I'm gonna drive.
He's like, I'm coming for firecracker pickles.
Yeah, dude.
I live near the Best Made factory. So you drive around town and it just smells like pickles the whole time.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Dude,
it smells so good. Yeah. I hate pickles, but they smell good.
I would want to deep fry the whole town.
Dude, if you seriously, man, if you ever end up out this way, you come see me at the shop, get a tattoo, and then you got to come over and I'll make my my air fried pickles for everybody.
I'm in.
It'll be great. Well, dude, man, it's been like an absolute pleasure, and like I said, man, this is far more than I expected, and I'm really
this is awesome.
Talk with us, man. We'd love to have you back on.
Dude, I'd love to anytime. You guys tell me, I'm here.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hell yes.
Fuck yeah. Dude. Thank you so much, Donnie. And
guys, peace.
See you later.
Absolutely. Be in touch, guys. Yo, you as well, guys. Peace.
All right, buddy. Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Later.